Hello there, and thank you for clicking on this video. As you can see by title, today we are going to talk about Cobra Kai for the last time ever. This is my last review of Cobra Kai. I mean, yes, of course, I'm going to make more videos about it. There's so much more to talk about than just this review of part 3. But I mean, this is the end. This is the final, and I am super excited, but I'm also very, very sad because this show was one of my favorites. I never thought I would like a show about karate. Like a few years ago, I don't remember when exactly I started watching it. I think it was season 1 or season 2. I saw the first and the second episode on YouTube, and then I fell in love with it. And I really couldn't believe myself because then I went back, I saw the OG trilogy, and I really fell in love with it. I knew that the Karate Kid exists, but I wasn't really aware of it. I had just seen the Karate Kid from 2010 with Jackie Chan, which I did like. I mean, I did see it when it came out, I think more or less. So I was really still very, very young. And for my age, I think it was pretty great. Now I rewatched it and I made a video about it. And yeah, I mean, it's still good. But Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid from 1984, is just something on a different level. And the fact that they could, bring this karate story back to life is really, really crazy. I really cannot believe that they actually made it. I also had my doubts about this part 3 because I've always talked about the fact that there's so many characters, there's so many stories going on, and it would be very difficult to give everyone closure, to close every story, to give everyone their fair share of time. But they did it. They actually did. And in this video, we are going to talk about just that. We are going to talk about the good, the bad, the badass, the ex-degenerate, and the future of Cobra Kai, if there is any, because who knows? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But more importantly, do we actually need it? But let me start by saying why I love this show, why it became one of my favorites. Because it's super authentic. It pays very well homage to the OG. It pays well homage to Mr. Miyagi, to the Karate Kid from 1984, to the philosophy of it, right? It handles every character from back in the day in a very respectful and loving way. Well, maybe except Chosen. We are going to talk about this. But more or less, it really handles everything in such a dignified way that you don't have that anymore. I mean, a lot of people, especially Sarah's theory, compares it a lot to Star Wars. In Star Wars, the last trilogy, fake trilogy, you had the X cast not coming together. This was insane. It's like not bringing Daniel and Johnny together, or Chris back. Like, it was really crazy. And Cobra Kai really did it. Like, they brought everyone back in a dignified, in a respectful way, and they gave everyone their fair share of dignity and respect. And I mean, I keep saying dignity and respect because Luke Skywalker did not get any dignity and respect, nor did Han Solo. So yeah, it's enough Star Wars talk, but it's really a very, very good comparison to Cobra Kai and Star Wars, to compare the two of them, because they're more or less of the same time. I mean, both of them premiered in the 80s, and 30 years later, the one, Cobra Kai, took the highway, and Star Wars took the, well, no way, or the way to hell. I don't know what happened, but yeah. So let's start with this. I talk too much, but the end of an era is really the end of an era, because, as I said, Cobra Kai might have some sequels, or spin-offs, but I don't think it's ever going to be the same, right? I mean, Johnny and Daniel together with Chosen and the kids, Robbie, Miguel, Tori. I don't think if we're getting this. And do we need it? So the good, what did I like about those last 5 episodes? I'm just talking about the last 5 episodes, but also in general, more or less. So the good, I loved it that they had the focus on the main characters. You know, you had Daniel and Johnny together. You had the wives because they're important as well. You know, Carmen and a bit more obviously Daniel's wife. I forgot her name right now, but she was great. I love her since day one. I think the wives are amazing. Rosa as well, the mother of Carmen, and the relationship with her and Johnny was just really amazing, cherry on top. And how he's like talking in Spanish and he's trying to understand her, and he's like, okay, okay, I get it. Like it was great. It was really, really great. And then you have obviously the kids, but you have the main kids. You know, Hawk and Dimitri got enough time, I think, because their story has been in the focus for a long time as well. And I think I do see them as the main characters as well, but just like a step back from like Miguel and Sam, for example. But they got their fair share of time. They were great, but yeah, I mean it was Miguel, Sam, Tori, and Robbie that were in the spotlight the most. And fair enough. I mean, they're the main characters of this. In my reaction video to the final, I compared Tori to Johnny, because they kind of have the same life. I mean, when Johnny was a young child, right? And yeah, I mean, Tori is in a way in the new Johnny, but also obviously not, because now Chris actually came back to her like to support her, and she was like, okay, great, like he did not leave me as he did with Johnny. And they had this like very heartfelt obviously scene with Johnny and Chris, and it was really beautiful. Um, and who else? Yeah, I mean Johnny and Daniel, as I said, and Chosen more or less, of course. But it was Johnny and Daniel all along, and they should be the ones to end this, right? They, stop bickering like an old couple, like just have the two of them be friends, and that's what we got. I wanted this for a long time, and I think this was really missing in the show, that for a long time they were just like fighting, like every season was same old, like them fighting, and now it's just the two of them friends. Great. Everyone got a win. I mean, the Sam and Miguel went to uni, and Robbie and Tori, I was like kind of sad for them, but fair enough, they kind of became like influencers, I would say. And it's great. Who knows, like maybe they're gonna open their own dojos or something. Like the world is at their feet right now. And also they managed to give everything a closure. To They really did give closure to mostly everyone. I mean, I'm saying mostly because maybe I'm forgetting something, but yeah, actually that's my point. The bad, did they give closure to Chosen? Why was Chosen even in the show so much? Because I think it was season 5 and beginning of season 6 that Chosen was, he was just there being silly. And this is really a big criticism from me. Like, I love Chosen and I love that he's in the show, but you're not doing anything with him. He's just there like a second Daniel, and Chosen is definitely not a second Daniel. So yeah, why was he in the show? Like, I'm happy that he is because he's great, but they really kind of made fun of him more or less. Like he was wearing Amanda's clothes, and it was just a bit ridiculous at some point. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they should have had him for a few episodes and that's it, because he was just there. But at least they paired him up with Kim now, and hopefully they're together, because Josen, come on, he deserves happiness. uh you know uh, this is also my criticism in one of my videos, where I talked about that Tori needs justice, because after her loss, family loss, right, she was kind of left alone, like nobody cared for her. And I was just so upset, because this is not like a little thing, right? And nobody like came to her and talked to her. Like everyone actually turned on her because she went to Cobra Kai. Well, Chris went to her and offered support. Was it was it in a manipulative way? Yeah, but still he was there for her, right? And this was his way to fix things. I mean, he means well, but in a twisted way, right? And there's this scene where Sam and Tori are getting back together like friends and stuff. And Tori was talking about like her, her losses and pushing everyone away. And Sam is like, oh yeah, I relate to that. I'm like, you're not relating to that girl. I like Sam. I really like that she stepped away. I mean, this is Miyagi, right? Miyagi is not to attack, like win at all costs. It's like defend yourself. I think it was me, Daniel, who said that, you're learning Miyagi Do, like the art of fighting, so you don't have to ever fight again. And that's the point. So it's good that she stepped back. I mean, I think she kind of learned her lesson, but not really. I never liked Sam. Like, she's just so whiny and spoiled. But yeah, uh, yeah, I just don't like her. I think she got no character development whatsoever. It was just her growing up. I mean, growing up is not a character development. Tori had a good character development. So the other thing is that like, no one talked about Chris, like dying. Like, nobody talked about that. I guess, I mean, he served his purpose, to give Johnny closure, to give also Tori closure. But yeah, maybe it would have been nice if they had mentioned that, because he's such a big part of the Karate Kid legacy. Also, another critique is that there is too little Johnny and Robbie moments. I mean, there are a lot of Miguel and Johnny moments, and that's fair. But also, I mean, Robbie, he deserved a bit more that time. Like, he deserved more time with Johnny to develop their relationship. But there's this scene where he hugs both of them. Like, both of them are his sons. He does love them. Like, you can see that he loves Robbie a lot. But they should have given a bit more time, some more scenes for them to develop their relationship. And the AI that they used for Mr. Miyagi, like, they brought Mr. Miyagi back to life. And I don't know how I feel about this, because I'm not like super against it, because I think it was cool. But then on the other hand, can it be seen as a bit disrespectful? Yeah, I think so, but I think it was well handled. Like, I don't think it was, you know, just there for the sake of having Mr. Miyagi there. I think you can argue that as well, but it served a purpose. And yeah, I think it was okay. But of course, it was weird. And in general, the bad, as I said, there are so many characters in Cobra Kai. They also introduced new characters with the tournament. Um, but they really, really, in those last 5 episodes, they pushed everyone aside, and they were like, it's just these characters, the main characters, and mainly Johnny and Daniel. And it's great, really. Like, this criticism, I think it's valid, I think it's important, but it does not overshadow the good things, the badass things. So Daniel-san embraces Cobra Kai. Like, this was insane. Like, I really loved it when everyone came out in Cobra Kai's gi. I mean, it's called Cobra Kai, right? Because in every season it has been about Miyagi-Do, like, he being the superior teaching. And I do get it. I do agree. Like, it's a teaching of peace and like defense. So yeah, you can see it as superior, but that's not Johnny. Also, I wrote in praising the separate teachings, because the two of them are so different, and I do think they learn from each other. Like, when you have to be aggressive, you have to be aggressive, right? But when you need to like take a step back, you do that as well. And them like embracing this, and the fact that Daniel really leaned into the Cobra Kai teaching when he went to motivate Johnny, like, whose dojo are you fighting for, Cobra Kai? Well, don't be a fucking pussy. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Like, I was like cheering. Like, it was great. It was really great. I loved it. I really, really loved it. And the fact that it was in episode 14 where Daniel was like, Cobra Kai never dies. He said that to Silver. It was really cool. Like, it's really cool. Like, you can have this, like, I guess, cheap lines that you can always use and have them be cool, but Like this show uses them for a purpose. It's not just a cheap line. Like it has meaning behind it, you know. And it was in this moment that Daniel had to be behind Johnny. Like it cannot be always him like have the high ground, like be all like mighty because of his superior teaching. You know, he saw that there is time and place for everything, and he really embraced the Cobra Kai. Because I mean, if, obviously every teaching, if you have a good teacher like Johnny, then yes, Cobra Kai's teaching is a bit more aggressive. But if you have a good teacher, then that's okay because he knows when to draw the line. Also, the badass is Chris Redemption. He had a very good goodbye tour. It was great. Like him just standing there in the shadows, like rooting on Tori. It was really great. Like their scene, the scene that they had with Johnny was really fantastic. I don't have much to comment on that because it was really well handled. It was so emotional. You know, Johnny let loose, like screamed at him, like you were like my dad, bro. And this it was really good. It was great. It was great. Like peak character development. The soundtrack, also the badass soundtrack. Like the moment they played the song "You're the Best Around" was fantastic. Where Daniel was teaching Johnny, training Johnny. This was so great. We had ACDC as well. We had so many badass songs in there. We also have the original Cobra Kai intro. It was really great. And obviously I wrote that, I spelled that the wrong way, but the montage where you had, you know, Johnny Googling how to propose, or he was also Googling something else. It was really great. They really do very well with like montages. Is that how you say it? Like, you know what I mean? It was really great. Such a badass show. I mean, you cannot really criticize it that much because even though obviously I had criticism, but it's okay, you know. And obviously Miguel is the new Cry Kid. I was kind of sad that Robbie did not get his chance to be the victorious at the end of all of this. Well, at the end of the fight, because at the end of all of this, he actually really became victorious, like with Tori, him and Tori getting the jobs of like being like the face of karate or something. It was great. But you know, it's Miguel. He started the show, you know, from a very little skinny kid, you know, a nerd, a loser, in a way. You know, he became the Karate Kid, the new Karate Kid, and it was great. He's a great fighter. It really seems that they put so much effort in the show into fighting, into learning to fight. It was great. It was Miguel all along. I'm happy for him. He deserves it. Amazing. And at the end, well, we have one more slide, but the ex-degenerate, Johnny Lawrence. Such a great title for an episode. All the titles were so great. I think this is so cool. At the beginning, I was like, really degenerate, like calling him again, but I mean, it's ex-degenerate. And I mean, he embraces it. You know, that's why I love about Johnny. Like he embraces himself. Like he is not trying to pretend to be someone else. Like he tries from time to time, but at the end of the day, it's him, it's Johnny. He's authentic. He's his own person, and he needs to lean into that. And that's what he did in those last episode, in the last two episodes. Like, hey, bro, I need to be Cobra Kai. I can't like do seances and like meditate and all this stuff. It's just not me. And yeah, I think he was way too long under like Miyagi-Do and Daniel's influence. And I mean, I get it. Like Daniel, you know, successful, like peaceful, you know, having a loving family. And I understand why one would want to follow his step because obviously he was pretty good, like with life. But it's just not Johnny. Like that's not him. He's more aggressive. He's more, how do I say it? I don't know. He's just more wild, and that's okay. I mean, we can all be like Daniel and like meditate. Like we can should also be a bit more Johnny, you know. He's loving a family. I love that he got like his two sons. He got a new kid. He got Carmen. They got a new house. It was great. Like he won. I love that. I really did. he's one of the best characters in all of television. Obviously, it's not television, but for me, like all of this is still like television. I still live back into 2010. Better times, by the way. Um, but yeah, I really Johnny Lawrence really did become one of my favorite characters of all times. I think he had such a good, not good, great, fantastic, badass character development and character journey, and like from having nothing and no one, like everyone were rooting for him at the end. I mean, he's just so authentic and true to himself, and I love it how they brought the whole story back to him. And there is this How I Met Your Mother episode, and I think this was credited as starting as giving the idea for Cobra Kai. That actually was Johnny Lawrence who was the Karate Kid. I love that. The scene is so cool. Like Google it, find it. It was really great. Yeah, Johnny Lawrence. I probably have so much more to say, but for now, this is it. It's fantastic. I'm so happy for him. I was crying throughout most of the 5 episodes because it was too good. It was too good, and having everyone wearing Cobra Kai gear, especially Daniel, was really great. The future of Cobra Kai. So it's just I did hear read some rumors, and I will probably talk about this in the next video. But to be honest, do we need more? On one hand, yes, I do want more Cobra Kai. On the other hand, it was perfect. The ending was perfect. If you continue to milk it, yeah, it might not be as great as it was now. I do want to see all the characters back together, especially Johnny. But I mean, it can also backfire. But yeah, apparently they might be making a prequel to Miyagi. Who knows? Might be a good idea. Also about Kim and Chosen, or about Kim's childhood. I don't know. Also about Tori and Robbie. I think I saw it somewhere. I don't know. I mean, sure, why not? But I don't think that some that it's very difficult for a prequel or sequel to match the success of the OG one. And I mean, this is like the sequel of the sequel if they do make one. So I think like Better Call Saul is probably the only prequel that matched the success of the OG. So I don't know, it can happen, but I mean, Cobra Kai has just so much passion behind it and so much love behind it. So I guess don't spoil it, but who knows, guys? Yeah, such a great show. I will miss it so much. I need to definitely rewatch everything again, especially the season 6, because when they put it in like 3 parts, like you kind of forget what happened in the first 2 parts or the previous season when they take so much time to release it. But I think Cobra Kai was pretty consistent, and I do hope it gets more recognition. And I just don't like the fact that Netflix releases everything all at once. I think it should really be episode by like week by week, so people have more time to digest it and talk about it. Because in every episode something happened, right? And now you just have, people are going to talk about it like for a few weeks, and that's it. I don't think it's going to. Well, I mean, you do have Karate Kid Legends, but still, it's a different thing. It's the same, but also different. So I don't know. I don't know. I do think that the show is quite popular, but I still think it's underappreciated. But yeah, I mean, obviously, when you hear, oh, it's a karate show, really fair. I thought the same, but it's great. I really love the show. I'm going to miss it so much. Great. They delivered. I had my doubts, but they really delivered. And yeah, remember, guys, Cobra Kai never dies.